This is the city, Kansas City, Missouri. With over 1 million people in the surrounding area, dry cleaners scramble to get as much as the marketing pie as possible. Some people are for weddings and a funeral customers, and there are two types of CEOs, the Christmas and Easter onlys and the chief executive officers. Either way, it's my job to make their life easier. I'm the knock father. It was Tuesday when we got a call from a man whose wife had been neglecting his family. We arrived on the scene. Excuse me, ma'am. Have you seen this van?
No.
It's been seen in your neighborhood delivering to many of your neighbors twice a week. What it's doing is saving people time, money, and gas. What I'd like to know is, what were you doing earlier yesterday?
Well, I was running errands.
Sure you were. Well, we have surveillance video of you going to the local dry cleaner, not only leaving your family behind, but leaving your kitty cat in the vehicle as well.
Well, you caught me red-handed. What am I supposed to do?
That's real easy, ma'am. Well, I suspect that you would like to be freed up of this prisoner of dry cleaning by eliminating the 2 trips by using my services.
Well, I suspect you might like to come in and help me sort out my dirty laundry.
Just the bag, ma'am. Today's topic, turning suspects into prospects. You know, I grew up watching a TV show called Columbo. A lot of times I will reference the dummy curve when it comes to sales, and that really is in reference to Sandler Sales, who talks about don't try to outsmart or be better than the prospect. And a lot of times they will show a picture of Peter Falk, who played Columbo in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. What's really interesting about suspects and prospects is suspects is actually an old sales term where you'd go back and you would suspect some people would be prospects, thus you would prospect and turn them into customers. So today, Mark, Mike, and I are going to share some basic tips, but some that are forgotten, some that are overlooked, some that you may never have tried in our ongoing journey of doing routes right and not at all. Another way to look at suspects and prospects is to take a look at the sales funnel itself. You know, we talk about sales being a numbers game, and the more, suspects you go after, the more neighborhoods you look at, the more chances you have of getting prospects. And you go prospecting and you do more presentations and you generate more leads, and with more leads comes more follow-ups, and with more follow-ups becomes sales. I found a kind of a cool video on YouTube about the difference between suspects and prospects and how to improve your closure rate. You'll enjoy.
I've run across many companies that use the term prospect sort of loosely. Usually it means anybody with a pulse. Now, I admit that's kind of an exaggeration, but too often companies spend far too much time and treasure pursuing so-called prospects that will never buy and likely don't have any interest in moving forward. In this moment of clarity, I'll show you how I categorize potential customers so you can better identify who's worth your time to pursue. The path I define for conversion is suspect, prospect, qualified prospect, and then customer. A suspect is someone who fits your client profile. For example, one of your client profiles might be CEOs of electronics manufacturers with between 100 and 500 million in revenue in the continental United States. Whatever your criteria, there are a certain number of people in your market that fit that profile, but you don't know much more about them than that. In other words, do they have a problem you can solve? Are they in a buying cycle? And many more. I call these people suspects. I recommend my clients identify as many suspects as possible and have their complete contact information in a database. and I call this the universe of suspects. A prospect is someone who's shown interest in what you do or is known to be in a buying cycle. It's a minimum level of qualification above suspect. Usually the next step with a prospect is to have a business conversation to learn more about their problems, where they are in their buying process, budget, and all those details. Only after this information is gathered and analyzed can the prospect go to the next level, which is commonly called the qualified prospect. A qualified prospect is one that has a need, they're aware of this need, they have the authority to buy, they have a sense of urgency about making a buying decision, and they have a level of trust with your company, and most importantly, they have the budget to buy. Now, I've developed scoring systems for clients to further segment these qualified prospects to determine the optimum level of resources to invest in each segment. For example, a prospect that has indicated a need, has urgency and budget, but is only one of several people that need to sign off, would get a lower score than someone with the same level of qualification, but who can actually make the decision. The evolution from suspect to prospect to qualified prospect to customer is by its nature a linear process. Marketing produces qualified prospects from the universe of suspects. Sales ideally should be focused completely on qualified prospects. I mean, wouldn't you rather spend your valuable resources talking to people that can actually buy? I know I would.
What I enjoyed about that video is talking about, kind of increasing your closure rate, decreasing your sales cycle and all that. It really helps when you really kind of identify the difference. Sometimes people go out there, make sales presentations, and just kind of go through the motions. Coming up next here, we're going to have some kind of live field action, some results-driven video, and Mark's going to share how to use real estate apps to turn suspects into prospects.
In our continued education of turning suspects into prospects, one of the things that we always talk about is the Good Neighbor program. I'm getting ready to pick up a bag from one of our best customers. Her name is Bridget. And I love how they put a hook up for us. But Bridget, not only has she been a good customer, she's been a good referral source, as her neighbors across the street, both are customers. And actually one of them came from a cherry pick / Good Neighbor program. But another tip, and a pretty common one that I think sometimes we overlook, is that her neighbor's house is for sale. Mark that on Spotio as a lead. And not only for them moving in. People say, well, I'm not going to knock on that door because they're moving. Find out where they're moving. 3/4 of the time, they're staying in the city, so they still could be a good customer. But then find out when the house sells, be the first one to knock on that door. I think we overlooked that a little bit too much. Here's a dual suspect tip. By the way, this is a customer that we got at a garage sale. But one of the cool things is they had a naked wreath hook. We don't buy those wreath hooks, as you know. We use S-hooks here in the field. And came by, been seeing that, marked it as a lead. And sure enough, they weren't happy with their current dry cleaner. And so got them at a garage sale and did some barter bucks. Actually got the squirrel cage for those that remember that we had the squirrel. So again, naked wreath hooks in the field are a great way to look for a customer.
Hi everybody, Route Pros Mark here. We're out late in the day on a Tuesday, on a December Tuesday. Just trying to get in a couple more attempts. We decided to open up our Redfin and Zillow app. Now, if you don't know what Redfin and Zillow are, two real estate resources. We were just off the beaten path, and our route developer thought, well, you know what? I think there was this new neighborhood somewhere out here that was kind of under development. So we used that, we tracked it down, boom, we got lots of suspects out here. Lots of suspects. So we're gonna go see if we can make a couple attempts, and we'll check back in with you. All right, we're back here. We're coming up to our first pin that Redfin happened to give us. Redfin's got some great filters on it. They are able to filter out only sold homes, properties, new developments and such. Again, this is free information, free resources. Jason St. Pierre would say these are free suspects for us on our route. So we're approaching our first one, and it looks like the dreaded whammy. We got an open lot. That's what we've got. We got an open lot. It's waiting to be built in, but not just yet. We'll be sure to pin it and leave it as a, as Jason would say, a suspect for the future. We'll go hit our next one up and check back in with you. Okay, we're getting warmer. I'm standing in house of 4210, which Zillow happened to give me as a possible new move-in. It was a recent purchase about a month ago. As you can see, it's still being built. We're still being constructed, but we're getting warmer. We're getting close. We're gonna track something down. We'll catch that fish. Okay, we made it to house 3070. Redfin says it was a new sale about 3 weeks ago, which is awesome. I'm looking up at the front steps and I see some fresh flowers up there, which means that's a sign of life and a sign of love, and a sign that I better go make a presentation. Check back with you and let you know how it goes. Hey, we did pretty good. We didn't get a new customer just yet out of it, but we talked to the wife. She was really happy to see us. She's covered in boxes right now, which is awesome. And I think we got a good, strong lead for next Monday and a potential new start coming at the same time. So we'll call that a small success. Again, we took the chance, opened up our resources, utilized the resources, and it led us to this big, beautiful, brand new neighborhood with a lot of hot suspects in it for our route. So just a quick lesson learned. Hope you enjoyed our little short journey today. Happy selling out there, everybody. Hey, Route Pros Nation, Route Pros Mark. Hey, we always talk about looking for signs of life and signs of love while we're out on the field, right? These are one of the most surefire ways. Right here, you've got tons of water. Our prospects have a lot of options when it comes to water. These are perfect people to target because they're in the convenience, and they probably love the convenience of our free pickup and delivery service too. So next time you're out there, I challenge you, always keep your eye out for good old water. Have a great day and happy selling.
The ultimate suspect. That's not our bag. I want to find out who that is, so I took a look. You know, when you're out there doing sales, one of the key things is to make sure that you document where your competition is as well. Know their prices, know their strengths, know their weaknesses. Turning suspects into prospects. Obviously, one of the best suspects, and sometimes the hardest suspects, is somebody that already has a bag. That is our competitor. I'm gonna go after that bag, and I'll let you know how I did. Sometimes sales is all about dumb luck. Got the bag. You know, one of the things I always say is you create your own luck. This was a situation where the customer moved and it's outside the delivery area of this dry cleaner. But thankfully for us, we're already here. So when they had called them and said they had moved, they said they will try to get up here. Well, they haven't been. Well, thankfully, we did. So sometimes suspects turn into prospects, turn into customers all in one swoop. More suspects into prospects. Got a basketball goal, got a hockey thing here, of course a side garage door. Pretty obvious when you see big houses. But one of the things I like about it is looking for signs of life, signs of love, but I also like to see what kind of maybe age demographic they have. So they have a basketball goal so that they're very active, or they've got kids that are active. Sometimes we'll look for, you know, playground sets and bicycles out, chalk marks. All those things can help you a little bit determine maybe what type of suspect you're going after. When we're turning suspects into prospects, how nice would it be if it always said prospective resident parking? Obviously, apartment complexes is another target, and there's a lot of suspects. It's got to be a good apartment complex, but again, our goal is to try to pick it up at one location. How about another little tip about turning suspects into a prospects? quite often we talk about neighborhoods like this where there's a lot of territory. And we went over there and we actually did a sales presentation over here where people are prospecting for a new home. We had an open house. And Troy and I just happened to make a really unique presentation there and had a lot of luck. Right now, Troy's in the middle of a presentation because there was a dog that came running down the neighborhood. The dog was friendly. That's usually a friendly dog, a friendly owner. So Troy's now finding a new prospect with a dog that came and chased us down, and in turn, he's chasing them down. We'll see how he does. Oddly enough, the dog that he found was not actually this couple's dog. They actually knew it was another neighbor's dog. So Troy is now, not only did he go return the dog to the owner, he's actually meeting with the people that he talked to about that same dog. You know, opportunity knocks any way, shape, or form, whether it's in the form of a human or a live animal. So I'll kind of get out of the way so that we can see how Troy does when he gets back. So Troy's back in the van.
Hey.
And the dog ended up being what, a maid?
So the dog, yep, it was the maid, the house cleaner to answer the door.
Still an opportunity though, you know.
It was fun.
It's what prospecting can be about. You know what? We have suspects turn into prospects. We suspected that dog was owned by somebody in this nice neighborhood, and maybe we can follow up and maybe she'll tell them about it. You left some brochures, right?
I did.
All right, so maybe we'll get a customer out of that. Stay tuned.
Well, if you search the internet and look at the difference between suspects and prospects, you're going to find a lot of jumbled messes, much like this little chart or diagram that really, I don't know, takes it to the next level. The bottom line is this. I think it's simple. We've got great areas to develop, maybe some existing route customers or around some stores, and you turn those into prospects by prospecting, and with that, you generate leads, customers. Bottom line is this, guys, make it happen. And happy selling from the Route Pros.